Hello guys! Welcome to my video lesson in Mathematics 10. This is Teacher Ocleo or Pio. You may call me Teacher Clex for short from Hingatunga National High School. I am here to guide and help you learn the lesson in mathematics in an interesting, challenging, exciting, and enthusing way. By the way, I would like to congratulate you all guys for successfully completed the tasks and activities given to you in quarter 1. To those who excel, sustain it, and to those who are still struggling, practice pa more and never give up. This video lesson covers the first module of quarter 2, which focuses on the introduction of polynomial functions. In this video lesson, you're expected to first illustrate polynomial function. Second, identify polynomial function. And third, determine the degree, the leading term, coefficient, and the constant term. So what is polynomial? Polynomial comes from the Greek words poly, which means many, and nominal, which means terms. So polynomial means many terms. So what's in a polynomial? How do we be able to know that a certain mathematical expression is a polynomial? First, it has constants. Constants includes all real numbers. Then we have variables. That includes all letters of the alphabet. You could use that one. Then we have third one is the exponents of the variable must be whole numbers. So start with 0, positive 1, positive 2, and so on and so forth. So in this case, a polynomial could either be constant, pwede po siya variable ra, o pwede both constant and variables. So the combination of constant and variables could be able to create a term. So we know that a term or a terms are expressions separated by plus and minus symbol. So I have here an example of polynomial. So let us read together an example of polynomial. So we have here 2x cubed plus x squared plus 1. Okay, so here what we are going to identify are the variable, the constant, the exponent, and the number of terms. So based on the mathematical expression, or this algebraic expression rather, so we have how many types of variable, how many kinds of letters do we observe? So here we observe that there is only one letter that is present in a particular expression, and that is variable x. Okay, so you observe, then go to our constant. Our constant refers to the number, all real numbers, numbers without variable. Okay, if you look at that is 1. 1 has no variable. It's a constant. Then go to the exponent. The exponent can be seen on top of the variable. So here we have variable x. So what is the exponent? What is the number on top of this variable x? So that is 2 and 3. Check. Then lastly, we have to identify how many number of terms. So we observe that expressions are separated by plus and minus. So we have here, this is our first term, this is our second term, and this is our third term. So with this, how many terms do we have? So we have here 1, 2, 3. So here we have 3 as the number of terms. So I have here samples of expressions, and then you're going to identify which of them are polynomials. So the first expression is 10x. Would you consider 10x as a polynomial or not? Yes, you're right. It's a polynomial. How about number 2? The second expression, x cubed minus 2 square root of 5x plus x. Is it a polynomial or not? Yes, you're right. It's not a polynomial. Why? Because the variable x here, if you notice that our variable x here is under a radical symbol. So if it's under a radical symbol, our radical, that's a square root, so automatically that the exponent of variable x here, this one, is a rational. It's a fraction. So automatic pag radical symbol, enclose ang usa ka variable, dili na siya matawag nga polynomial. How about number 3? X raised to the power of 2/3 plus 3x plus 1. Yes, you're right. That's not a polynomial. Why? Because of the exponent of variable x, which is equal to 2/3. So, bawal ang fraction sa exponent sa variable sa polynomial. Another, number 4. That's a pi. Would you consider pi as a polynomial or not? That is a polynomial. You're right. Because a pi is a constant number. Pi is equivalent to 3.1416 and so on and so forth. So we could not change the value of pi anymore. So that's considered to be constant. And that is a polynomial. Then lastly, we have negative 2x raised to the power of negative 3 plus x cubed. Is that a polynomial or not? Yes, you're right. That is not a polynomial because of what? Because of the negative 3 exponent. So, bawal mag-negative exponent. So, you know already what is polynomial. Okay, let's proceed to polynomial function. So, how do we define a polynomial function? So a polynomial function is a function of the form p of x equal to a sub n x raised to the power of n plus a sub n minus 1 x raised to the power of n minus 1 plus a sub n minus 2 x raised to the power of n minus 2 plus a sub 1 x plus a sub 0, where a sub n is not equal to 0. N is the non-negative integer. It's non-negotiable, no? Our n here and our n here are non-negative integers. Diba? Sa polynomial, it should be positive integers or positive whole numbers. Then our a sub 0, a sub 1, and a sub n, these are real numbers. Then our a sub n x raised to the power of n, that's the leading term. We will observe that the highest power of the variable. So that is the leading term. Then our a sub n is the leading coefficient. We will be able to identify the leading coefficient through the leading term. So next we have a sub 0, that's the constant term. We always remember that the highest power of the variable is also known as the degree. So we have types of polynomial function based on the degree. We know that the degree of a polynomial function refers to the highest power of the variable. So we start with p of x equals ax raised to the power of 0, which is then equal to a. Why? Because any number or any variable raised to the power of 0 here, that is equivalent to 1. So that is 1. No? So 8 times 1, so that is equal to a. So the degree is 0. And the name of function is 0 polynomial function. Okay, now we have p of x equals ax raised to the power of 1 plus b, which is then equal to ax plus b. Why? Because any variable raised to the power of 1 or any number raised to the power of 1, automatic, the number itself or the variable itself. So, pwede na nga dili na to butangan og exponent nga 1, automatic na to nga ang iyang exponent is 1. So, the degree is 1 and the name of function is linear polynomial function. So we have here p of x equals ax raised to the power of 2 plus bx plus c. So here, the degree of the polynomial function is 2. So that is, the name of function is quadratic polynomial function. Okay, next we have ax raised to the power of 3 plus bx squared plus cx plus d. So in this case, our degree is 3, and that is what we call the cubic polynomial function. Then the next one, it has a degree 4. If you notice, it has a degree 4, and it is quartic polynomial function. And then the last, we have, it has a degree of 5. The highest degree is 5, and it is known as quintic polynomial function. So we have here exercises number 1. Determine the degree of the polynomial function, the type of function, the leading term, the leading coefficient, and its constant term. So here we have number 1, y equals 8x raised to the power of 4 minus 4x cubed plus 2x plus 22. So to find for the degree of the polynomial, you have to look at the highest power of the variable in that particular polynomial function. So here, the highest power is, yes, that is 4. And the type of function, since that is degree 4, that is quartic polynomial function. And our leading term can be identified through the term which have the highest power of the variable. So that is 8x raised to the power of 4. And our leading coefficient can be obtained by looking at the coefficient of the leading term. So this is the coefficient of the leading term. So that is equal to, yes, that's 8. And the constant term, you have to look for real numbers without variable. So we observe that it is here, no? So that is 22. So let's go to polynomial function number 2, y equals 3x squared plus 6x cubed plus 2x. Okay, so by carefully looking at the term of that particular function, we observe that the highest power is here, and that is degree 3. And that function is cubic polynomial function. Then our leading term, ug asa ang term nga dunay dako og exponent or taas og exponent, so that is 6x cubed. And our leading coefficient, you have to base that one at the coefficient of the leading term, which is 6. And the constant term, by looking at the function, did you observe are real numbers without variable? So tanan ay variable. So kini kay wadya mo, automatic 0. So that is all. Okay, so we have another exercises. So here we are going to determine if a particular function is a polynomial function or not. So if that is a polynomial function, we have to write PF, give the degree, the leading coefficient, and its constant term. Otherwise, we have to write not PF, then just give the reason. So let's start with function number 1, f of x equals 3x plus x squared. So what are the conditions? What are those things that we need to remember in order for us to identify whether that particular function is a polynomial function? So we have to look at the exponent of the variable. So by looking at the exponent, so let's start checking the exponent of the first term. What is the exponent of the first term? That is equal to, yes, wala siya naka-indicate to exponent si x diha, di ba? But that is equal to positive 1. How about the exponent of the second term? This is our second term. So the exponent is positive 2. So therefore, puro positive ang atong exponent. No question that this is a polynomial function. Then the degree of the polynomial function is, of course, the term which have the highest power of the variable, and that is degree 2. And our leading coefficient, okay, by looking at the leading term, you will observe that our leading coefficient is, yes, look at the coefficient of the leading term. This is our leading term, right? So our leading term, I'm going to emphasize that this is our leading term here. No, kung asa nato nakita na atong highest power of the variable. So our leading term is x squared. So what is the coefficient of x here? So the coefficient is automatic 1. Wala siya nag-indicate og number, and that is automatic 1. And our constant term, so did you observe any real numbers there without variable? Okay, wala, no? So that is equal to 0. So let's move on to our function number 2, f of x equals x squared minus the square root of 2x plus x. Now, in this sense, let us check whether it passed the condition. No? Kung mahimo ba siyang polynomial function. Let's check with the first term. What is the exponent of the first term? That is positive 2. Okay, siya. How about the next term, which is negative square root of 2x? What is the exponent of our x now? Since it is under a radical sign or radical symbol, which is a square root symbol, so meaning our exponent will become fraction, no? So in that sense, this is not PF. Okay, so our reason, of course, our reason is that the variable of one term is inside or under a radical symbol. Okay, so let's move on to the summary of this topic. So, a polynomial function is a function which involves only. So, what must be remembered on the exponent of the variable in a particular polynomial function? That could be positive integer or it is a non-negative integer powers. So, the blank of any polynomial is the highest power present in it. So, the highest power of the variable in a particular polynomial function is known as, that is the degree of the polynomial function. So, let's have here a cubic polynomial function in the form of y equals x cubed plus 2x plus 4. So, here, what is the leading term? The leading term is the term which have the highest power of the variable. So the leading term is x cubed. And 4 is what? 4 here are real numbers, which is variable free, walay variable, no? So that is known as that is the constant. And 1 is where is 1? Did you observe 1 there? Yes, 1 is look at the leading term. Yes, there is 1 there, and that is the coefficient of the leading term, or it's known as the leading coefficient. And what is the degree of this polynomial function? It is, yes, that is 3. And that's end my video lesson about the introduction of polynomial functions. I hope you enjoy and learn something about the lessons that we have discussed today. For your feedback, inquiries, comments, contact me at my cell phone numbers at 0997-270-9038 or at 0917-150-8814. Or you may also message me at my Facebook and Twitter account. See you guys on the next episode of my video lesson about writing polynomial function in standard form and in factored form. Thank you and keep safe.